I'm telling you, my friends know me way too well. This past weekend, which would be end of April, beginning of May, it was the past weekend as I'm recording this. I was out of the country, and while I was out of the country, I got a message from a friend on Discord that said, "Hey, I found this on the side of the road. I grabbed it, but do you want it?" I should have said no because I knew what it almost certainly had to be, but I've got way too much of a sickness to say no to pretty much anything, especially if it happens to be free. This is I guess you call it a homebrew computer. I mean, it's not really a homebrew computer, at least not so far as I can tell, which we'll get into in a second. This thing here was put together by a company known as MDG Computers. Now, apparently, I had a quick look, and it appears as though they might still be in business. As far as I can remember, the one that was around here closed in 2012. I don't know. Time is fleeting these days, so I don't remember when exactly it closed, but it hasn't been around. It was certainly long before the pandemic it closed, so there's that. I think there's a beer store there now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I never really bought anything from them because at the time, I worked for the competition and I could just use my employee discount and get anything that I ever wanted. So I've never actually been in one, but I've certainly heard a lot of horror stories about these folks, and I've seen a lot of their ads advertising their low payment deals, which they try to sucker people into. The dollar a day is the one that I remember for like something ridiculous, like 450 days or something. Sounds like a good deal, but I don't know about that. And then they sucker you into the repair plans and all this other stuff. But they, among others, also did a lot of system building for schools, which happens to be where this came from ultimately. Now, I don't know where on the curb it was found. All I know is that a friend of mine found it on the side of the road. It was probably actually stolen from a school, but I'm gonna plead ignorance on that one. So, there's your sticker. I guess if it was stolen and somebody wants to retrieve it, let me know, because I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. Um, it's not that interesting, ultimately. It's just, in fact, it's not even a Pentium 4, but it's Pentium 4 era. It's a Celeron. I think it's what, like a Celeron 3 gigahertz? I don't remember. He gave me the list of specs, and I forget what he told me. But this case actually doesn't look too bad, really. It's a decent little case. The thing that gives it away that it was a school computer is the fact that it's got speakers in the front. I never saw these in anything but school computers. Although I'd imagine anybody off the street could certainly buy these. It seems like nobody ever did because they're not very good. But, so it's got, if you remember that Northern Micro, this is pretty much the same deal. It's got I think it's only got one speaker. But, maybe it's got two. Yeah, that one might be stereo because I've got two things there, but just the cable comes out the back and it plugs into the headphone jack on the back, or the speaker output on the back. I'm not sure who manufactured this motherboard. You can see, but it's a pretty standard layout. For USB, there's a FireWire 400, or I guess it's 1394, but, Ethernet, I presume it's probably just 10100. Let me go ahead and pop the cover off. I don't even know what this is. Usually they say on it whether it's a DVD burner or not, but not this one. And of course a bog standard floppy drive. I may actually add a card reader to this because I've got one sitting around that right now doesn't have a home. Or I might just not bother. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Let me pop the cover and show you the first sin of this case. Yeah, here's what I don't really like about this case. You can see the entire back comes off as one piece, just like all those old style AT cases. I'm not a big fan of that because those tend to be really difficult to get back in place. But it looks like this actually has a removable motherboard tray, which is pretty cool. So I didn't even notice that when I had it apart the first time. If I bring it around here, it's made of good quality metal. Like, it's not pop can or anything. It's not the sturdiest ever, but it's not bad. That looks like a pretty generic power supply to me. I'm not really sure who made it. ST300 BLV, 300 watt, probably honestly specified. Or maybe not, I don't know. What else we got in here? So this is a CD-ROM drive. Holy crap. In 2005? Wow. Well, I guess it was a school computer, so it made sense that they didn't put a big drive in there, but wow. I would have thought that a DVD-ROM would have been standard in 2005, but I guess not. That's where the speaker thing is. It has a hard drive, which is actually a serial ATA drive, although they plugged it in with the Molex power. So that's kind of neat. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is probably an Intel motherboard, just based on what it looks like. But I'm not sure. It's got a big heatsink on it. Probably could upgrade the CPU on this, and I may just do that, as opposed to putting a different board in this case. But I'm not sure if that's 478 or 775. I suspect it's probably 775. So we'll have to probably do some guesswork on that. It's got PCI Express. It's awfully tempting to put a bigger video card in this. But yeah, it's probably pretty decent for free. Let's go ahead and hook it up and see what else we got with this. Okay, we got it here. Hit the power. That sounds really classy. Power it up. Just heard a pop. That's good. What do we got? Yep, that's an Intel motherboard, alright. 945 chipset. Celeron, oh, it's a 3.06. That's cool. 3 gigs of RAM for some reason. But 8 times correct. I'm not sure if you can hear it on the video, but that thing is squealing really bad. Although at only 533 megahertz FSB, that's pretty slow. I wonder if this would even support an 800 FSB. 80 gigabyte hard drive. Not too bad. Looks like it does not support AHCI mode, which is fine. Look at the event log. Processor thermal trip. Ooh. Fun stuff. Twice, too. Neat. Of course, keyboard not found. That's recent. And apparently memory optimization dual unbalanced. That's probably when it was upgraded to 3 gigs. So, everything there is probably fine. Look at the hardware monitor here. Doesn't look too bad. So obviously the cooling was redone. I think that's a Cooler Master fan, so it probably had a new cooler installed. I'm sure the original cooler failed or something similar. The burn-in mode. I've never seen that before. What does this do? These are settings that are intended for validation and test purposes only. Yeah, I'm not going to worry too much about that. Security. Nothing. Power failures stay off. Wake on LAN is on. Looks like everything is set up the way that it should be. Boot to network. I'm going to turn that on. Exit saving changes. Looks like the CMOS battery is actually good. Optical drive work. Yep. So that's cool. I remember right, this, like I said, this had Windows 10 on it. Yeah, here we go. Well, it's either Windows 8 or Windows 10, one of the two. Certainly not going to be keeping that. Not sure what kind of fool would install Windows 10 on a Celeron, but... okay. Looks like it's a relatively fresh installation, too. Yeah, see, this is why we don't run Windows 10 on everything that we find. Because this is painful. What is this? It's a random optical drive. Okay. Well, it's got Google Chrome on it. Somebody must have somewhat customized it. I have no mouse. Maybe my mouse is broken. I have a keyboard at least? Okay, the keyboard works. I don't know, maybe my mouse is broken. Well, I'll give it like 20 minutes and maybe we'll actually get somewhere. I had a look. There's not much really left on this. It does have what looks like an activated copy of Windows 10. I'd have to look. Support from Intel. Read the software license terms. I don't want to change the product key, but I do want to see the activation. Yeah, Windows is activated with a digital license. So, I guess there's a thing. So, it's a valid version of Windows. I could probably grab the key and use the key on something else, but... for right now, this is what it is. So it'll probably get a RAM upgrade. Might get a power supply upgrade. I haven't really decided yet. But it'll probably also get a CPU upgrade because the Celeron is a little bit outmoded at this point. I'll have to see if it'll support a 800 megahertz FSB chip first. But, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't. It should be new enough that it will, but you never know. I'm not really even sure what motherboard it is, other than the fact that it's an Intel board, so I guess that'll probably be the first order of business. But that's really going to do it for the video. So, that's all she wrote for this. So, nothing special, but for a curbside find, I guess it's not too bad. I have something to keep me busy for at least a little while.